This is Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow with another edition of Healthy Living. But before we get started, I have a very important person waiting here for a very important treat. This is Buddy, and he knows how to sit very nicely. He's waiting for a bite of apple. Here comes. Alright, he likes to sit here and watch me cook in case some little tidbit just happens to fall out of my hand into his mouth. So with that said, what I would like to do today is to show you how to make a very simple and delicious and hearty winter meal. So this is some sausage that I have from our butcher, which is down in Indiana. This is some cheese and some cheese brats, and this is andouille, which is a little spicier. So we're going to put this in the oven to bake at 425 for approximately 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set my timer. And that's at 425. And while that's in there, I have steaming. This is actually a pasta steamer pot, some potatoes. And I want to show you. This is a pasta steamer, and in the bottom you can see I just have a couple of inches of water in there. I put that on high, and I love the steamer for all my veggies. So anyway, I've got some potatoes going. And over here I have some vegetables. I also have some leftover spinach pie I'm going to put in when the sausage comes out of my oven and is still hot. So I think I've shown you how to make that before. And here my Cuisinart, I've got my slicing blade, although you can cut it by hand. And we're just going to plug that in. And I have peppers, onions, mushroom, garlic, and kale. Now, sometimes I use green peppers depending on what kind of color I want to give it, but today we have red. That was what looked nice at the market and was nice and fresh and organic. So let's go ahead and get these things started. Makes the work very quick and easy. I'll throw in my garlic in the middle of all of this. And you want to just do a handful. If you're not a big garlic fan, you can do less. If you're a big garlic fan, you can do more. I've got a handful of mushrooms. These actually are organic mushrooms I've been finding in the stores lately. I'm going to throw in the nice red pepper. Let's see how fast it all goes. And I think that fills up my Cuisinart. So take this off. And this. Okay, and I'll go ahead and wash this, but you can see it's filled. And I'm going to let the sausage bake and just relax for a few minutes, but then we'll come back. Well, actually, let's just pull this aside for now. Now I can go ahead and chop the kale, because I'm going to put some kale in here. I've already removed this heavier stem out of this kale, so just cut that out, set that aside, and then we're just going to finely chop whatever you want. Again, any kind of bitter green, you could put in spinach, Swiss chard, collard greens. It just depends on what's available at your local market. I just finely chop that up, and it's going to give it some nice color. Bitter greens, of course, are very good for your liver and your other internal organs. High in calcium. Okay, and that's it. While our sausage is baking, we're just going to let it sit for a while. So, come back and join me in a few minutes. Through our cooking time on our sausage, so I like to check them because sometimes I need to turn them. If I think they're browning a little bit on the bottom, which they are. You can see here they're sizzling away. Let's just go ahead and flip them over. They look nice and puffed up there. And I'd say another 15 minutes ought to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how we do our veggies here. While that's happening, let's go ahead and put some olive oil in our pan. This is really quick. You'd just be amazed at how easy it is to put together a really nice hearty dinner. Okay, I'm going to turn it on high and heat up our oil a little bit. And let's see if we can find Buddy. Buddy. Oh, maybe he's out. Nope. Here's both Alcans. Here's Alky. Hello, Alky. And there's Buddy peeking over the top. Okay, so while the oil's heating, I'm going to go ahead and take this off. And I'm going to run that around the bottom and just push everything in at once. And then we just start stirring stuff around a little bit. As the oil's heating, we might want to add a little bit more, depending on what it looks like. We pull out my salt and pepper. That's really the only seasoning that I'm going to be using, although, oh, yeah, that's all I'll need. You can change things around if you want to. Just mix that up until everything starts to kind of wilt down a little bit. Like I said, if you have green peppers, they also look nice in there. Orange, yellow, just depending on what you can find wherever you're at. It's one of the reasons I like to add a little bit of the kale in a few minutes, because I like to put that color in there. Remember, visually, if something looks appealing, it's going to be much better and easier absorbed into your body and used properly. Okay, so I'll coat it with the oil. Let's let it get hot for a second or two. In the meantime, let's check on the potatoes and see how they're doing. I might just take a knife and see if it goes in easily. Which it does, so I can turn the heat off on my potatoes. This is starting to sizzle a bit. Pieces will cut a little bit. Okay, you can hear it sizzling, and you see how it's starting to wilt down a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put the kale in. And that's also going to wilt right down. And give us some color. Make everything look nice and fresh. And the bitter greens are excellent with the sausage. And we're going to add a little bit of salt, probably a good teaspoon, maybe 2. And about a teaspoon of pepper. Maybe a teaspoon and a half, depending on how well you like things seasoned. If you want it hot and spicy, you can throw in a jalapeno, you can put in some red pepper. This kind of, again, depends on your taste. Okay, you can see how nicely that's all coming together. I'm going to be sure the salt and pepper get dissolved in. I think those are about done. They're still a little on the crispy side, which is the way we like them. This is going to go into the bowl here, serving bowl. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fry up some of my steamed potatoes. Now you can serve them in the pan or from the pot just like that they are, or you can put a little oil in if you want to brown them a little bit, which I kind of like to do. So, a little bit of oil in, come over here and just take them right out of the pot. Put them in and we're going to crisp them up a little bit. A few minutes while the sausages are finishing up. And you notice I have quite a big pot of potatoes because I might want to do something different with them tomorrow, so if I cook them all at once, then I have leftovers that I can add to my meal tomorrow. Put a couple more in there. But as you know, I try to do things wholesome and easy. A couple more and I think we're good. Okay, and that burner's off, the oven's on. Let's take a peek at the sausages. Well, those are starting to fry up a little bit. Let's see how those are doing. Oh, yeah, those are good. Those are nice and done. When you push down, they don't give, then you know they're done and nice and solid. So I'm going to pull them out. I'll try to set up here while we finish up. Now that'll work. Fry up those potatoes. You can leave them whole if you like. You can cut them into pieces, which is what I'm going to do in just a minute after I add just a bit more oil. And a little bit of salt and pepper once I get them cut. Brown them up a little bit more. Depending on, again, how you like them. A little bit more oil because we don't want it to stick. And if I put in about roughly a teaspoon of salt on these. And some pepper, probably about half a teaspoon on these. And that piece let them brown a little bit. You can see how nicely it's browning. As I said, you can leave them as long or short as you like, depending on the crispiness factor. So, while that's doing its stuff, let's put together a plate so you can see what dinner's going to look like. We're going to come over here. We're going to take one of the andouilles. We're going to take one of the cheese sausages and put them on the plate. And then come over here and put together some of our veggies. Oh, and the other thing we need to do still, and while the oven is still hot, I want to put the spinach pie in too. It's already done, and it's one of my leftovers, so it can sit in there and heat. I'll turn the oven off because the oven's hot enough. So put those on there, and I have a little bit of grated cheese that I put over the top. And we're going to add some potatoes here in a minute. And you can see how quick and easy it is to do a nice hearty meal in the winter time for your family. Have some leftovers. I use mine up all the time. I cook a little bit more and think about in the next day or two how I'm going to use them. Let's add some potatoes on. Turn this off. And you can see what a lovely meal we have. So I want to thank you for joining me, Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow, another edition of Healthy Living with Expansions.com.